If there's one person that Wall Street dislikes more than Bernie Sanders, it might be Elizabeth Warren. Now, I say Wall Street because we're talking about a group of people who were speaking at the American Bankers Association. But what's amazing is Wall Street doesn't have to speak for itself. They have all these politicians that they've bought who go out there and they're giving them speeches saying like, oh, you guys are right. Oh, you guys are awesome, right? I wonder if anybody in the race gave speeches like that to the bankers. Anyway, so senior House Financial Services Committee member, Representative Blaine Luetkemeyer from Missouri, is talking to these conference of bankers, and he starts talking about Elizabeth Warren. Now, he's a Republican, and he says, here we go to Politico. Representative Blaine Luetkemeyer, a senior member of the House Financial Services Committee, told a conference of bankers this morning that they need to find a way to neuter Senator Elizabeth Warren, whom he described as the Darth Vader of the financial services world. So I love how scared of her they are. Isn't that funny? Like, God, Republicans, tough guys, like, oh, yeah, well, who cares, rah, rah, right? And they run into Elizabeth Warren, who comes with facts. Like when bankers come in front of her committee or regulators, she's like, okay, now here are the facts on how little regulation you did. Here's the effects of that and the fines that have been paid because you guys wouldn't stop the fraud. So she's scaring the crap out of them. And even this guy says later in the proceedings, like, oh, yeah, on the banking, now on the financial committee, now anytime somebody's speaking, all the Democrats look at Elizabeth Warren like, oh, no, what's she going to say, right? And I thought, yes! Like, we never had that before. Before they'd look around and be like, we sell out to the bankers, right, guys? Everybody sell out to the banks? Yep, agreed, right? Now Elizabeth Warren goes, no, not agreed. They're like, no, I meant no, kind of. We'll do it in private, right? So now let's look into Luetkemeyer a little bit more to find out why he might be so pro-banker. I mean, does he really think it's going to help the economy? It's not like the bankers helped the economy in 2008. Well, according to Allied Progress, Luetkemeyer is an old friend to the banking and predatory lending industry, receiving more than $1 million in campaign donations from the industry. Now, did he do anything for that $1 million? You betcha. That's why he was paid. Luetkemeyer sponsored H.R. 766 last year, a bill that would close a Department of Justice effort that targets unscrupulous lending practices. Okay? So this is how the system works, right? Now, who the hell is a Luetkemeyer, right? Random congressman from Missouri, nobody ever heard of him, kind of an obscure backwater guy. Oh, wait. And now that he's the head of the House Financial Services Committee, or he's at least a senior member of it, oh, now he's got power. And it's not like the banks were like, oh, should we give to the guy we really like doing good work in the Environment Committee or in the Transportation Committee? No, of course they're giving to the Banking Committee, right? They give him $1 million. You think they don't expect a return on investment? That bankers are like, I just throw money around. I don't need a return. Keep it. I just do it out of the goodness of my heart. No, and he delivers for them. And he says, oh, don't worry. I will continue to make sure that your predatory lending practices continue to happen, right? Elizabeth Warren stands up to them. Darth Vader. We got to neuter her. And that's the kind of language they use.
Well, first of all, it's funny because he's got his metaphors wrong because they are the evil empire.
I know.
So for the evil empire to say she's the Darth Vader is not, it's almost a compliment then. So he should have said she's the Princess Leia. They're the cowboys.
Yeah.
And she's the Indian.
Yeah, well,
right?
In her case, a little literally, but.
Literally.
Yeah.
And no, but isn't that funny that they think, oh, all of us bankers who are the richest people in the world and all these congressmen who have been bribed by them, we're the little guys. And what, the one liberal or two liberals in the Senate, Warren and Bernie Sanders, they're the empire? I mean, it's comical.
I mean, how do you, as a human being, how do you try to aid people who are trying to screw over poor people? How do you aid billionaires? And how do you do that and sleep at night? Like, how does this, no matter how much money someone gives you, it's like you still, like, wouldn't you feel, I mean, that's like horror. That's not like, I don't know, turning your eye, your head on a land deal or something, or letting someone not pay their taxes. You're screwing over poor people, the most vulnerable people in our society. You're allowing the most powerful, moneyed people in our society to extract wealth from them in an unethical way. And you're like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And this is the kind of thing that people like me think is not going to change if Hillary becomes president. So you can see why we would be passionate the other way, because she doesn't see this kind of thing as problems, right? She doesn't even identify money in politics as a problem, only Citizens United. We think all money in politics is a bad thing, and this is what it leads to. So you can see this is why the passion is so strong for a guy like Bernie. I don't want to mix stories, but this kind of does connect with what we're talking about earlier.
So, look, until you get the money out, and by the way, the president can't do
Why
that.
are you one issue? Why you keep bringing one? You're such a one-issue guy on the show. One issue.
So I'm going to connect it to what Jimmy's saying here, right? So until you get the money out, people are going to tell themselves pretty little lies. How do they sleep at night, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Easy. He says, oh, it's important for the banking industry to be healthy so that we're competitive with the rest of the world, and it's important for our economy, and you libs, you don't understand any of that. Now, if you broke it down a little bit further and said, wait a minute, why do you have to charge 300% interest? That's what we used to call loan sharking, right?
Yes.
And you go and target the people who are most vulnerable, and by the way, a lot of our veterans, right, when they come back. And in one study in Florida, they found out that it was taking up to a third of the income of these families to pay back loans at 300% interest. And so then they don't have money for food, rent, anything, because all the money is going to the loan sharks, right? But as long as you're getting paid $1 million through campaign contributions, and by the way, when you get out, jobs with the same industry, right? Well, you're going to tell yourself any lie you need to make sure that you go down that road. And who's the person who's bursting their bubble? Elizabeth Warren. She keeps coming and going, wait. You're screwing over veterans here. Now let me show you the number of veterans this affects. Let me show you the results on their family. Let me show you the interest rate. Let me show you the alternative. Here's what you could do instead. And they're like, God damn it. Now I can't sleep at night, right? And so, and they don't want to say that, so they reverse it and call her Darth Vader. And by the way, saying you're going to neuter a woman, not the best way to go. And saying you're going to neuter anybody, not the best way to go. But their hatred of her is so visceral, not because that guy is so pro-banking. He's bought, right? It's because she's exposing how bought he is.
Yes.
It's also the blind faith in capitalism. The same thing where they say, cut the taxes of these corporations and it'll trickle down. Well, it hasn't, all right? And the same thing with that's how these people sleep with themselves at night, because they say, well, this is the capitalistic way. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. These guys are doing what they're supposed to do. And capitalism will finally work together. The other day I went to the Verizon store to get an upgrade on a phone. And these guys have been trained to upsell, and add other accessories. And they wouldn't leave me alone. The guy's like, would you like a iPad? Would you like a screen protector? Would you like a... And I'm like, no, I wouldn't like any of that stuff. I just want you to start the phone. Let me get the hell out of here. But that's where capitalism goes. These guys have been trained to think like that, like sell. They're salespeople. And this guy the same way. He sits there and he goes, well, I'm doing a good thing here. I'm saving the banks, and the banks eventually will save the economy, and then that's going to help everybody. They don't think critically. They don't sit there and think to themselves like, wait a minute, predatory lending to these poor people that you were saying that are in the hole for the rest of their lives, and they fought for our country. And on the one hand, I'm going, rah, rah, go military. On the other hand, I'm going, well, let me screw you. And they're not thinking about the screwing part. They're thinking about, I'm giving you an opportunity to get the millions that I'm getting. It's just blind faith in capitalism, and it's stupidity.
This is from Barack Obama in 2008, and this story is about how the government is bought, and then they do the bidding of the highest bidder, which is, in this case, Wall Street. Barack Obama in 2008 said, the American people are tired of politics that is dominated by the powerful, by the connected. They want their government back. He said that in 2008. And now he says, it's not that big of a problem if you're not authentic. Don't worry about it. I ran against George Bush's authenticity record, and I won in 2008, so don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a great quote from Martin Luther King that keeps coming back into my head as I listen to these debates. And he said, we should be, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but we should be concerned about the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Mm-hmm. We need the fierce urgency of now. And I thought, what a great turn of phrase, the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Okay, and by the way, it's not like when Martin Luther King was doing it, everyone was like, oh, great, change, fantastic, come on in, let's change everything, right?
Right.
No, they were like, hey, take it easy, Martin, take it easy. This is not the time. Come back in a couple of decades.
That was his letter from a Birmingham jail. It was all his response to all the white liberals who kept saying, not right now. Wait, we'll get it. Not now. Wait. And he was like, if not now, when? If not here, where?
Right.
If not me, who? I am somebody.
He's memorized it.
That might have been Jesse, but okay.
That was Jesse Jackson.
I think it was Michael Jackson. Was it Michael Jackson?